Hello. Okay, never mind. Yep,
Yeah.
we're in. We are live.
Hi, we're in.
Hacker voice.
The correct stream this time?
I'm in. We are in the correct stream this time. I did it right.
You better
Because
believe it, baby.
I'm a YouTube big boy who does this professionally for my career. Improbably. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another
Blue,
OSP stream. What?
Blue, the video looks like it's zoomed in really far on the preview.
Well, here's the thing. It zoomed in really. Oh my god. What?
Yeah, yeah. What?
What the? That is not what Streamlabs is showing me.
Hold on, it looks fine.
Hold on. Is it just on mine?
It might just be on our end.
It looks fine.
Cyan has it on her phone and it looks fine.
Okay. That's good. Because on our end, it looks like it's just showing the top, left corner of the screen.
You know what? That's
you guys
okay.
are fine.
I trust Streamlabs more than I trust
Alright.
YouTube.
I trust YouTube being YouTube.
Yeah, it works. And besides, the YouTube actual playback works. Hey everybody, it wouldn't be OSP without some technical difficulties. I'm Blue. That's Cyan.
Hello.
That's Red.
What's up?
Cool. We're gonna play some Immortals today. I'm working on getting Hades for next week. That's the goal. But I don't want the first time I play a new game to be on stream because I'm bad enough at video games and I have enough just ambient embarrassment and my lack of skills that I don't need to exacerbate that by throwing myself into the crucible of Supergiant's Hades for the first time on stream. So next week we're gonna be playing that. However, right now we're going to be doing some Chicken Ares content from Immortals Fenyx Rising. If you missed the first few parts, Athena was a child, and then we made her not a child, and it's cool now. Now she is a very large woman with a spear.
She's a big girl.
She is fixed. We're going to go and see what's up with Ares over in War's Den.
Woo!
Those of you who don't know what's up with the plot of Immortals Fenyx Rising, it's like if Zelda was Greece. It's a fantasy world. The 4 regions of the map are conveniently divvied up and themed according to the gods that inhabit them. So the Ares place is angry and with lots of fighting and dead people. What do you expect?
Good stuff. And then in the middle there's Typhon in a big cloud of magenta black evilness.
Since last we played, I got this cool stag to use as our steed, our mount. And that's fun. But hoping for a nice chill stream. Nothing really super going on this week, which is a rare joy nowadays.
Maybe. I'm looking forward to the first Wednesday of the year where nothing world-changing happens.
Yeah. If we get through tomorrow, it'll be okay. It's just January that's been everything all the time.
We don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet.
So far.
So far. Maybe it's just a January trend. We'll never know.
I don't know.
Until we get to tomorrow.
Yeah. Exciting.
So our first goal is to climb up a big statue of Ares and then get a lay of the land.
Noise.
First we're gonna steal
Speaking
this
of
horse.
Breath of the Wild, we tweeted about some rather harrowing discoveries in the
we did.
Yeah, woof. Man. What I really respect about Breath of the Wild is that it does this thing that I've observed in a lot of stories very well, where it hides the really dark shit, but it doesn't pretend it's not there. It's just it doesn't grab the camera and force you to look at the horrible stuff. It makes you kind of work to find it, but it doesn't make you believe that everything is fine.
Yeah. And they pretty much, they drop you in, the world has been dead for 100 years. It doesn't start you off on a chipper tone.
No. I mean, you wake up in something called the Shrine of Resurrection, and you're like, I was probably fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure nothing that bad could have happened to me. Good stuff. And I kind of mentioned this in the tragedy video, because it's sometimes you hide the tragedy, sometimes the tragedies in the background or off screen, and in Breath of the Wild, it's all of those things. And even when you're dealing with the champions, they're just it's their chilled out ghosts. It's 100 years later. They're over it. They're like, yeah, it was pretty rough, but hey, glad you're back. Here, have some superpowers and my voice in your head. And then that's that.
The worst you get is Rivali's
cool,
about time, dickhead.
Yeah, Jesus, I've been calling this SOS. I mean, I've been sitting around here chilling for 100 years, you dick. Oh, Rivali.
You didn't need to keep me waiting. Ugh.
Yeah, kept you waiting, huh? What I kind of respect about that is that Rivali, like, it would have been weirder if they all liked you, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you don't know these people. You're just coworkers, and like 3 out of 4 is not bad. But it makes sense that one of them would be like, "Oh, fucking chosen ones, magic swords and shit, princesses, whatever."
Yeah.
Some of us have jobs to do, Link.
They expand on that in the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. It's actually really funny seeing how the champions interact just on a day-to-day basis, like going about those proverbial day jobs. Like, oh yeah, you know, we found some Lionels in Hyrule Field, so we gotta go take care of that. And then, you know, you go do the mission, and it's just all these character interactions of like, oh, Rivali's like, I need to make sure that I do really well in this fight because he's watching. It's like, okay, Rivali. It's really funny. There's some great moments in there.
I really need to play Breath of the Wild again.
Yeah.
It's like one of those games that I really enjoy playing, but I don't know, we just haven't... We've been doing other games, so we haven't gotten back into it.
Mostly this one, but yeah.
Well, you've been doing this.
I've been doing this.
Playing around in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, we've been playing Skyrim. Skyrim is a wild game.
It's like, let me kill this dragon. This person now hates you because you hit their horse while actively killing the dragon, killing its horse. It's like, yes, thank you, Skyrim.
And the guard is like, I see you just slayed a dragon, but I need to arrest you for shouting
smacking at a horse.
Yeah, or for shouting at that horse slightly too loudly in the case of the dragon speech.
Oh, Skyrim.
Skyrim book report.
Man, I remember getting so hyped for that game when the trailer came out.
The trailer is hype. It's an extremely hype trailer.
Oh man. Nothing is more exciting than when you're in high school and this is the first of the Elder Scrolls games you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa! Music!
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be going over there later, because that looks...
Sparkly.
Sparkly, there's a giant wall that you can pass, getting some big black gates vibes.
I mean,
we're gonna have to go in there soon
You don't
enough.
know that you can't pass. If you get up to the top, you might be able to just soar on in there.
You know what? Maybe we end up doing that.
Paraglider, please?
Yeah.
We're soaring, flying.
I don't actually know any other things between those, like, 5 syllables.
I know every line, but I will spare you all.
Thank you. I know only a bit of it, but...
I have younger sisters. I know every line.
Massive skeletons of conquered monsters and bottomless canyons.
Plus, like, the first one, I feel like I was, like, around the target age. Like, the later ones, not quite as much. But... Although, when did that come out? I have no
I have
idea.
no idea. I'm not the right person to ask for that.
No, I would need to ask the almighty Google.
Surveyed the terrain from atop the god
Ah.
of war. She spied a beast.
I guess you're gonna know exactly where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
No ordinary creature.
Is that just a bear?
That must be my son. Not the sharpest sword in the barracks, but he'll knock Fenyx off her feet. Mark my words.
I feel like this is not going to go well for poor Ares. They're really setting him up as super great and cool.
Oh no, they
Yeah.
only do that to knock him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It's interesting.
you've all seen the title of this stream. You know where this is going, but like, for the
Everyone
proverbial first
immediately
player
checks
who...
the stream title.
Yeah, for the proverbial
It's
first player, it's a
interesting.
shock.
That Mars is like kind of actually cool. Like Mars gets respect. The Romans liked Mars, but Ares, oh boy.
I mean, we ended up talking about this on one of the podcasts where it's a lot of the, like, Ares is dumb, LOL stories we come from have a distinctly Athenian bias to them where it's like, oh, we have the cool god of war who's awesome. You have the jock god of war who's dumb and, like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so completely incompetent he gets caught in a vase for 400 lines.
Pythos, please. But yeah, the anti-Spartan pro-Athenian bias most likely had some effect on Ares' framing, but even in spite of that, like, we don't really have that many myths where Ares features. So it's like, it's a little hard to tell.
Yeah.
Mostly you have to work on the hymns to him, and then it's like, well, when was this written, and by who, and why? And
Yeah.
was this in that golden, was this in that little, like, Goldilocks zone between, you know, Athens rising to power and Rome rising to power, where because it's like, oh well, Sparta liked Ares, and then Rome liked Mars. So in the middle is this space where Ares kind of comes across as this chump, and it's like, well, when's the story of him from? Anyway, it's interesting, but in at least in the Homeric stuff we have, the first written texts from what we consider ancient Greece, he's not really coming across all that great.
No, I mean the Iliad is like, you know, in your words, man up, you gigantic disappointment. It is pretty harsh.
The Iliad's like, Ares, you absolute walnut.
Yeah.
I just can't do this without you.
Yeah, it's not, it's rough, especially because those books love Athena so much. It's like, oh, she's so cool and smart, and look at her helping out Odysseus like the badass she is, and Ares like, can I be in this book? It's like, shut up, get out of here. You're stupid.
Look at the comic relief, having opinions, wanting to be included as a protagonist.
Yeah, come on, man, know your place.
Yeah. On the subject of like stories with Athena and whatnot, we have the podcast going up tomorrow where we talk about the tragedies trope talk. One thing that I find interesting is that the canon of, not well, the canon, but like the corpus of tragedies that we have includes a lot of Euripides, which is very weird, and that Athena is always the bad guy, Agamemnon is almost always the good guy, and all of the like modern interpretations of how these characters work that you know we you know show on our channel are pretty much universally subverted by Euripides' plays, which makes them very weird to read if you're coming off of like the the Homeric works or even some of the other plays by like Aeschylus and Sophocles and stuff. It is a weird whiplash seeing Athena as just a unambiguous villain.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I think our perspective on it, just because of the cultural stuff, makes us think that Greek mythology is like one body of literature with a canon, rather than, you know, close to 1,000 years worth of literature, all written by different people with different opinions, trying to tell different stories, different protagonists. And,
I really want to know.
I had a. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I really want to know who decided to make this chicken just significantly more expressive than like any of the other gods so far. He's like monologuing.
Yeah. I didn't know Ares knew that many words.
Ares picked up a thesaurus in his time as a chicken. Since he can't find, he's like, well, I guess I might as well
learn some of those word things everyone's been talking about.
All those words Athena's on about using to make me look dumb.
Off-screen character development where Ares is like, who am I if not the big, strong dude? Who could I become? It's just holed up in a library.
Yeah, like, look at that. This chicken has so much sass.
Yeah.
This chicken is like a Looney Tunes character in an otherwise not very Looney Tunesy world.
Yeah. That's... long story short, animation is very difficult, obviously. And some of the reason that, like, Looney Tunes sticks out in our collective imagination for so long is because the characters are just so expressive, and if you watch back some of the old Looney Tunes animations, they are doing so much for how difficult it is to, you know, to hand draw 12 or 24 frames per second, and they're not just using stock poses like a lot of like modern animated TVs like Family Guy is just like stock pose, stock pose, stock pose. Like everything is deliberately hand animated, and SpongeBob, similarly, a lot of the older stuff is so just exquisitely characterized and accentuated in the animations that I think that's part of the reason that the memes have stuck around so well, is that every single frame in SpongeBob is so expressive. It's really, really well done. There's a video that I saw a long time ago, but it's basically saying like they always do a round of storyboards and then say, okay, take all of the poses you just drew and then accentuate them. So it's like, this pose is already weird. It can be weirder. You have SpongeBob turning around, like, no, like, make him go 180, like, full owl neck.
But
like,
his feet stay the same.
Yes, exactly. So it's such a great, just, school of, like, making every single pose as expressive as possible, because you're already drawing, 24 frames a second. You might as well make them unique and not just stick to like animatic style of, the only thing that moves over the course of 4 seconds is like the mouth and the eyes. So it's good animation.
Yeah.
Hi, Cleo. Someone woke up from her nap.
Hello.
Yes.
The earliest
good.
Cleo cameo on record.
She
Hey.
saw the chicken and was like, pray.
Must munch.
Using that giant spear.
But yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of different styles of animation. I think that the more fluid stuff tends to just look better and use the medium in a more, I don't know, deep way, I guess. Like, the greatest strength of animation is that any frame can be whatever you can draw.
Yeah.
Like, that gives you so much control over the movement and the visual design, and people have done some really incredible stuff with that. But I have also seen, like, there's a lot to be said for the more kind of, people describe it as Flash animation, but you can also do, like, frame-by-frame cell animation in Flash, so that's not really fair. But, like, the kind of thing where it's like, well, you like you said, stock poses, where, like, the mouth moves and the eyes move and maybe an arm will go up or down.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the whole body isn't moving that much. And, you know, it's a style. It tends to be a little bit less fluid and expressive than the more, like, high-effort Looney Tunesy, cartoony stuff. But it's also much easier.
Yeah, that's why that's
So, you
what
know.
we use.
Yeah. Well, we do animatics. It's not even animation.
Yeah, animatics.
Yeah. Basically, like, with an animatic, it's like seconds per frame rather than frames per second.
Yeah,
And then with the quote-unquote Flash animation style, it's, you know, still frames per second, but mostly you're just redrawing individual parts of the frame, like an arm will go up or redrawing. Often it's more like there's like a Bones style animation where you essentially make a little figure and then you rig it, and it's a 2D animated figure, but it's like a paper doll with joints. So, like, that's one way to do it, and then there's the more fluid way to do it. I mean, the Bones rigging animation is kind of just like if you were doing 3D animation, but with a 2D model. So, the figure isn't expected to distort all that much.
No.
Anyway,
we don't want
animation
no
is neat.
bones. We just want noodles.
Yeah, give me the noodles.
Give me the highly expressive noodle.
Yeah, Looney Tunes is really fun. I think, in part, not just because of the, you know, the animation style, but just, man, they really pulled off those facial expressions well.
Oh yeah.
On characters without human faces.
Yes.
Somehow you could still get that vibe across.
Yep.
You know, characters who couldn't speak, characters who were, like, missing facial features sometimes, and you could still know exactly what they were feeling and why.
Yeah. It is truly incredible work.
So good. Also, they're just really fucking funny. Like,
Yes.
Like, they've aged flawlessly in comedy terms.
Yeah.
Which is impressive, because something like that reframes an entire genre usually ends up retroactively, like, it's wildly unfair, because it reshapes the space of the genre, and then it looks like it's incredibly cliche.
Yeah.
Because it defined the cliches for, like, 60 following years. But no, in this case, it's more like you rewatch it and you're like, I got him with the sawing the board in half and then the wrong half falls gambit. Works every time.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
exactly. It's an instance where there is basically no work that comes along after the fact that, like, makes it so that the first thing is painful to come back and watch. And there are definitely some pieces of media that are, you know, so foundational in their genres, but if you go back, it's like, people thought this was a big deal. Yikes. Okay. And Looney Tunes is definitely not one of them. It has held up far longer than it could have ever reasonably been expected to. But it's just because it's so damn good.
I also like how those animators were clearly like every 4 or 5 sketches they were like, all right, that's enough. Now we can get back to our true passion of opera music.
Exactly.
They'd always do it. It's like, you don't do that many times unless you really, really like it.
No, seriously. One of the best concert-going experiences I've ever had was when my dad and I went to a performance of Looney Tunes in concert. Basically, it was they played a bunch of Looney Tunes cartoons, but they had a full orchestra playing along, and it was incredible. And it was
That's beautiful.
one thing just because it was so great to hear the music, but the jokes were funnier because they were fully scored, and the music is such a part of the comedy in a lot of cases that it was really interesting seeing the actual, like, comedic value of the cartoons be heightened through that live performance and having the music be so much more, like, present and alive. It was really something special.
Yeah. I think really all this highlights is why the things that were trying to be more Looney Tunes after it often didn't work. Like
They didn't
try
have
and
an
give 'em
overarching love of
plots.
opera.
Well, I mean,
No,
yes.
I know what you meant.
Obviously, that was the big problem with Lunatics Unleashed. Not enough opera music. But no, it's like there's something fundamentally very interesting about the tune logic that Looney Tunes used. And it really is just like this universe works by whatever is funniest in the moment will happen. And I don't know. I think I tweeted about this when I was rewatching Looney Tunes semi recently, but it's like going into this from the modern perspective of just like this criticism world that is oversaturated with bad faith stuff, where it's just like I could conceivably theorize that this thing is a plot hole because they didn't spell out how they got from point A to point B, and therefore it's a flaw, and I win internet points for pointing it out. And it's like, then you look at a Looney Tunes sketch, and you can just like imagine one of those like one of those bad faith media critics like slowly imploding as they just see Bugs Bunny interact with anyone. And it's like, well, actually, rabbit holes don't look like that. And, well, actually, you wouldn't be able to float. And why is he breathing underwater? And that's not how gravity works. And it's just like, guys,
That's
not what this is about. This is a fucking cartoon world. Nobody said gravity had to work like you think it works.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something very sweet, I think, about revisiting something so utterly unconcerned with realism. Especially in the current media landscape of like, it's gotta be realistic and it's gotta, we can't let the internet people score points on us.
Yeah. Can't let anyone see what's coming. We can't let anyone, win, because like media is like a contest. Like I have to, by writing a story in a certain way, I will beat you because it is then impenetrable, and therefore I win. And I've written a story with exactly one plot point, because that's the only way you can write something with no plot holes, is if only one thing happens, or essentially if nothing happens.
Yeah, it's like, that's no way to write. I understand why the writers do it, because it really is stressful to feel like you're disappointing your audience, but, you know, that can turn into this kind of self-destructive spiral of, like, the story has to be flawless, and nobody can see it coming, because the idea that if people can tell where your story is going, it's a flaw. Like, I don't know where that came from, but it's insidious. Because it's like, no, guys, that... Even in a mystery, they give you enough clues that you could conceivably figure out what happened. Like, that was the whole point. So then when you reread it, you could be like, oh, I get it. And, like, here's the thing. You read a mystery the first time from Watson's perspective, and then you read it the second time from Holmes's perspective, because you see it from the top down, you know where it's going, and you can see when he's putting things together. That's so much of the appeal, and the idea that, like, if you read it through and you're like, oh, this is, you know, I get it, I know what the mystery is, and then that's bad, it's just, I don't know where it came from, and I don't like it. Actually, I think I do know where it came from. It's an overcorrection for a different problem, which is sometimes you write something that you think is clever and it's not. Like, that just happens sometimes. But, you know, that can be kind of gut-wrenching, too, from an authorial perspective. If you write something that you think is this complicated thing that'll have the audience going like, oh, that's cool, that reframes everything, and then it just doesn't land, and you're like, I didn't make it complicated enough. That's not usually the problem. It's less that you didn't make it complicated enough, it's often that it's not impactful enough. Because, you know, with something like that, like, if it's a big character reveal, I mean, you know, again, tragedies, Greek tragedies, stuff like that. When it's like, even if you go into that knowing the twist about Oedipus, it's not like you're like, yeah, I get it, he banged his mom. Jeez. It's like, no, you go into that like, oh, buddy, this is gonna be really bad. You know, it's not about how gross the twist is, because it's like, yeah, that's pretty nasty, but, you know, okay, I get it. It's more about, okay, but they have, like, children, and he's the king, and what is this going to do? And it's going to do a lot of bad stuff. It's about the impact rather than the twist. And sometimes in a mystery, it's like the impact is, all right, story's over. We solved it. And if that's the only impact, then if the audience solves it early, sometimes it can be like, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why it feels less impactful. But, you know, it's not always how it goes. Sometimes you can see it coming and you're still going to be like, oh, but I like that character. I hope they get away with it. Oh, fuck. You know what's a really good example of this?
What?
Fucking Knives Out. Knives Out is so good.
I haven't seen it.
You guys...
I haven't seen it. No.
It's like I'd heard that it was good, and then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is good. Knives Out, it like pulls 3 genre twists on you. Because initially it is a standard whodunit. And then, about a third of the way through the movie, you learn who did it. You see the whole thing play out. And you're like, oh, shit, okay. But I like that character. And then the middle third of the movie is a thriller as you watch that character try and avoid getting found out. And you sympathize with them, even though you're like, I mean, that was a murder, kinda, technically. I mean, you know, you didn't, like, mean it, but...
technically.
Yeah, you know, someone is still dead, and it is technically your fault. And then, you know, so you're like, okay, this is a thriller now. And then, in the, you know, final third of the movie, it's like, actually, it is a whodunit.
Oh.
Because the situation is not quite as simple as you thought it was. And I don't know, you know, like you go into this movie, and like I went into this movie knowing a lot of the main beats because I'd already seen like the Cinema Wins video about it and like various articles about how cool it was and the visual effects. So I went into it knowing the main beats, and it was still really effective because it was impactful at every turn. It's like I'm invested in how this affects this character, even if I think that this character maybe did a murder a little bit. You know, it's fine.
Sorry, I'm still stuck on,
I don't
like,
know.
imagine, like, trying to, imagine being, like, a legal defender and be like, well, I guess technically this was murder. I don't know
But,
how
Your Honor,
they'll see
look
it, but, like, technically it is murder.
I heard them muttering when they were calculating the angle of that piano, so is that premeditation?
But Your Honor, look at those doe eyes. How could we possibly prosecute? But no, it's really good because it gets you invested not in the whodunit aspect so much. Or like it does, and then it's like, oh, well, I guess that's not the main point. Okay, but now I'm invested in this other thing. And then at the end it's like, wait a minute, it was a whodunit? Holy hell! So, you know, it's good. But again, it's like it's not that effective because it's hard to see where it's going. I mean, like there's a lot of reasons why it's not that surprising what happens in that movie. But it is impactful because they get you invested in all the characters and all the things that are going on. And so, you know, when the twist happens, you're like, oh, yay! Maybe it wasn't actually a murder and that character I've been rooting for is okay. You know, that's what really makes the audience care. So when you throw a cool twist at them and they're like, meh, it's not because it wasn't twisty enough. It's because you didn't give them enough reasons to think that twist mattered.
Yeah.
So, less subverting expectations, more actually good character writing. Fucking Game of Thrones. Anyway.
There's so much that we've collectively been able to just, like, point to for Game of Thrones about, like, how not to do things.
Yeah.
And one of the, I don't stay very much up to date on Lindsay Ellis videos, but one of the things that she said that I really appreciated is, like, the most annoying thing about Game of Thrones turning into a shitfest at the end is that it kind of, like, robs our ability to actually have, like, interesting discussions on the rest of the show and, like, how it portrays, like, violence against certain people and, like, how, you know, like, what does it say about, you know, this or that. It's like, it just gets reduced to a discussion of how bad the show turned. So it retroactively, you know, robs any interesting conversation that is still to be had about the earlier part of the show that isn't crap, because everything is just so stained by how bad it is now.
Yeah, it's really interesting how quickly that show just wiped out its entire retroactive goodwill. I don't know. Like, that's kind of scary. That actually kind of wigged me out. It's like you can spend so long and so much energy building up this good story, and then if you beef it in the finale, everyone will be like, oh yeah, that's the show that beefed it in the finale.
To be
No one
fair,
will care about the
you
cool
have
shit
to
earlier.
really beef the finale.
And the showrunners
yeah.
very obviously stopped caring a while ago.
Yes.
Which is really, like, why it ended up being such an extreme, you know, mess up, because even, like, coasting would have been probably fine, but there were deliberate choices made that just squandered everything that was going on. So it's not like, oh no, I might accidentally ruin it. It's like, unless you really just fully stop giving a damn, it's unlikely that something that bad can happen. And a more likely point of comparison is like an Avengers Infinity War Endgame, where it's like, oh, what happens when you have a story that's just far too bloated for its own good, where you know, lose the ability to actually write an ending because you're so obsessed with, like, keeping the possibility of continuity. That's a much more interesting discussion to have, as opposed to, oh yeah, these writers just, like, completely forgot this character's motivation, so they wrote Daenerys as being a tyrant for lols. Okay, sweet. That's where we are now. Great.
Actually, you know what? I think that in both the cases of Game of Thrones and, you know, the end of Marvel Phase 3, they both did a thing, the thing that I was just complaining about. They essentially swapped out, they saw the divergent paths of something nobody will see coming and something that keeps the characters, like, interesting and something the audience will care about. And they thought that it was more important to be surprising than to preserve, you know, the audience caring about the characters. And, like, obviously Game of Thrones did that in every conceivable way. Like, everyone is horribly out of character. Nobody's arcs get satisfyingly resolved. Coincidentally, what you could argue to be the heroine of the story has to be put down like old Yeller when she goes all fascisty, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, cool. It's like nobody ends that story happy or in a good. I mean, you could argue that they're in a good position, but it's not like they're doing well, and nobody cares. Like, it is insane to me that nobody has, to my knowledge, written like a fix-it fic for the finale of Game of Thrones, where it's like,
I'm sure there have been plenty.
I'm sure they exist, but like, I haven't heard of or seen any of them. Like, this was the biggest show in the world for like a decade, and when the finale crashed that hard, like, nobody wanted to go back and make it worth it. Like, nobody was like, I'm gonna make this right, guys.
Even George Martin's like, I don't know if I want to touch that one.
I mean, that's the wild thing to me. It's like this show so utterly sabotaged itself by just removing every possible reason the audience had to remain invested. And it's like, yeah, you're ending the story, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to unplug the audience, you know, eject all the bits where they're like, I like this character, like, fuck you, she's evil and dead now. And it's like, well, okay then, what about this guy? Oh yeah, he doesn't do anything, and then he goes into exile again. Prophecy what? It's fine. It's just, you're supposed to, you know, when you end a story, it's supposed to leave a lasting impact, and ideally that lasting impact is not, oh, fucking really?
Yeah, like, there are plenty of stories where, like, I wish there was more at the end. Like, and I think that's what makes it a good story that you enjoy rereading. Because you're like, well, I'll reread it one more time, and maybe there will be more there that I didn't get, because I want to know more, you know?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of "and the adventure continues." Like, it's not like the ending needs to preserve the status quo that the show has had or whatever, but it's like, let me believe that these characters continue to do shit that I like, so I can think about it, you know? And part of the reason why I actually wasn't the hugest fan of the way Endgame wrapped up, and why I haven't been able to muster up the willpower to watch any of the newer stuff they're doing, is because it's like they systematically took every character that we'd gotten invested in, and they were like, all right, well, this one's dead, and this one's really old, and this one's, I don't know, fucking off into space because Guardians of the Galaxy did really well, and this one's dead, and this one, we wrapped up his character arc off screen, so he's fine now, he's fine, don't worry about it. And this one got a sick, nasty, full arm tattoo that the makeup group hates doing, so we'll probably never show him in a sleeveless shirt again. And it's just like, all right, cool. I no longer relate to or engage with any of these characters because you gave me like a 5-year time skip, in which time I disengaged from every protagonist you'd spent a decade getting me invested in. And also, most of them are dead or out of commission, so now I have no interest in continuing watching this franchise. Like, you might show me more stuff that I then get invested in, but you took away all the things that I already was invested in. And I get why you did it, but that doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a lot.
Uh-oh. There you go. Big monster.
We'll let you monster for a bit.
Oh, that's a handful of monsters. Oh dear.
I have heard good things about WandaVision, though.
Yeah,
Apparently
that
it's
I
very
have.
interesting stuff.
I think part of the reason that people are enjoying it so much is that it's just kind of doing its own thing, and even though it has kind of been thrust into the role of being the first piece of Marvel media since Endgame, it's just happy to be its own little corner of the universe, and that's part of why it's fun, is because the characters are the focus. And it's I haven't seen it. I'm only just regurgitating things I've heard secondhand. Look, I don't know, but that's at least early on what I heard.
Yeah. Well, what I've seen is that it's now looping in a lot of like secondary and tertiary characters from other Marvel properties, like
Never mind.
the love interest sidekick from Thor is there, and the FBI agent from Ant-Man is there, and I mean it's cool. Like it looks like they're doing interesting stuff, but there's one thing they just did that made me retroactively angrier about the way they handled Endgame.
Oh.
I swear I don't have an axe to grind here. It's just like, obviously I had high expectations, and I mean, you know, everyone had high expectations, and they couldn't possibly have lived up to all of them. But the way they handled it was, like, not great to me. But anyway, right, the specific complaint is that, so, if you guys, who watched Captain Marvel, remember when they bring in, Maria Rambeau and her daughter Monica Rambeau, as, like, Captain Marvel's best friend, definitely not wife, you know, that whole thing?
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
situation?
right.
Yeah. And basically, as I understand it, in WandaVision, it essentially shows us what happened, like, because we saw them, like, back in the 80s. It kind of tells us what happened to them in the modern day, because they hadn't shown up in any other Marvel movie, so we had no other way of knowing. And basically what happened is that Monica, I believe is the daughter, Monica Rambeau, she got dusted, and she kind of came back, but she had been dusted at the hospital picking up her mom, who had been undergoing treatment for like an illness, and her mom didn't get dusted, and in the intervening 5 years she died. So Monica comes back thinking she's picking up her mom, and the doctor has to tell her that she's been dead for like
Yikes.
2 years. Yeah, and it's like, holy shit, that is harrowing. And then I saw a bunch of people being like, hey, that totally recontextualizes Captain Marvel's absolutely furious face when she's decking Thanos in this one shot in Endgame. And I was like, yeah, it does recontextualize that, but I bet if they told her actress that, she could have given a better, more nuanced performance
Yeah.
of losing her at least best friend for life and her daughter, basically, for completely different reasons, and thinking they're both gone. And it's like, well, that reframes why she's not on Earth for that whole time, why she can't bear to be on Earth. But they didn't have that planned out for that, and they didn't tell Brie Larson that, and so she was giving this just really stoic, kind of generic performance for the whole movie, because they didn't give her anything to work with. And that annoyed me, because they were doing that for all of Endgame to avoid any spoiler leakage. Like, they didn't even give people full scripts. Everyone knows the anecdote about, like, the bit where they're at Tony's funeral, and a lot of the actors were told they were at a wedding, which is why they were all in nice suits. And it's like, that's... If you're sacrificing the quality of the performances from your actors by not telling them what they're doing, just so you can preserve... So that the internet fanboys on Reddit don't get your script 3 days early and yell about it. Like, you're making a worse product because you're so afraid of your own audience, and that is just bonkers to me. Anyway, check the unscripted rant off your bingo cards. I'm gonna drink some water.
I'm
That's
attempting
good.
to figure out this puzzle.
Hydrate or dehydrate.
No, what the...
Oh yeah, I'm hydrating or dehydrating.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Maybe a
little
little
column
both.
A, little column B.
The day is still young. Dehydrating is fully still on the menu.
Sorry, I'm just tired.
Yeah, this is the OSP stream of...
Sleepy stream.
Just kind of a sleepy stream. We're just gonna
Yeah,
talk about whatever we
yeah.
want to talk about. How's the chat doing? I haven't actually been like...
They've been fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling back up. They're
cool.
doing all right.
What do we got going on here? I can understand this. Okay, so this one, that one, that one, that one. Okay, cool. It's you have to match
The shields to the
the way that the shields are facing. Yeah. So for instance, let me explain this puzzle here. The lit fire has right-facing helmet. Unlit fire has left-facing helmet. You see on this chart right-facing and left-facing helmets. So top two are right-facing, bottom two on the left are right-facing, so I just got to shoot those boys, and then we will be all set.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, there we go.
Woo.
Woot.
Cool, I will look that up and play it later. I do not have the capacity to memorize that tune during a stream. I barely
You
even.
can't even hear it.
I can't even hear it, let alone can I. I mean, I can see the colors, but like I don't even know what happened in that first conversation. I just see the map marker. It's one of the problems with playing games on stream is I can play because I can kind of go into autopilot, but I retain none of what happens in the game during a stream.
I imagine that's another part of the reason why you don't love doing new games.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when we stream Hades, like we might need to engage with the game a little bit more than we usually do, because
Yeah.
I've heard really good things about
It
Hades.
is really, really good.
And, like
Oh,
the dialogue
Typhon.
is snappy.
No. Get off my ass.
Leave me alone!
Hey, Heracles.
Oh hey, what up, bud?
Let that be a lesson to all those who spam in chat. You will be muted without warning.
Mostly when we notice you are spamming in chat.
Yep. It's like, come on, guys. This is for people to talk. This would be like if people were having a conversation and you stood in the corner and just started belting something at the top of your lungs because you didn't feel like you were getting enough attention.
Oof.
I mean,
I suppose
that is
actually
what
that's
like
just...
4-year-olds do.
Yeah. Well, 4 is a bit generous. Like 2-year-olds do. When 4-year-olds do it, you know they're premeditating and they've probably got like some kind of external agenda. Like
When
they really need
4-year-old
to.
does it,
They've got
you
a
know
song in their heart.
They're hiding it from. They're hiding someone else doing something from you, and you're like, this feels like a distraction.
Yeah. The 4-year-old's like, don't worry, I'll distract him. Go on. Yeah. But yeah, come on, guys. There are easier, better ways to get attention on the internet than spamming the stream of somebody else.
Red, you know you've got the timeout function and the block function, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
cool,
I handled
cool.
that guy. It's just like, Jesus, just go on Twitter and post bad takes in people's ads. Then they'll quote tweet you and give you the attention you so clearly crave.
The sin bin fills rapidly.
Oh yeah.
The sin bin never fills fully, though, so there is always more room in the sin bin.
Fuck around and find out. The sin bin takes all comers. If only Indigo were here, the patron saint to fuck around and find out. It's just because she's from Philly.
Yeah, she's...
Well, not only is she from Philly,
Yeah,
she just
she's
really
just a-
embodies that like mantra.
Yeah, like some people are like from a place, but like they could pass for just like being from anywhere else, and some people are like, oh no, you're really all in on this. Okay, cool. It's like when you go to New York and like hear a cat as the New York.
Hold on. Hello? Hmm. Uh-oh. Okay, chat, if you can hear me, please type banana in the chat.
plug and replug everything though.
Okie dokie.
Red, can you hear me? Red? Cool. That's a no.
Well, you can't hear her. That doesn't mean she can't hear you.
Heck.
You don't want those speakers checked. Yeah. And go out the...
On their end,
Hold on.
Oh, there they are!
Yeah, sorry.
Well, Red, you were hung up on for a bit, so...
Wait. Okay, we're
just
back.
We were just switching the audio input.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Here's what happened. My laptop has this problem where, I mean, it's not really a problem. It's just like...
I mean, no, it's a problem.
It's a problem. If the laptop takes more battery than it is being charged, what will happen is, even though it is being charged, it will slowly lose power, and then when it gets to about 5%, it just freezes. It doesn't turn off, it just freezes. So everything froze until I was able to plug in a bigger charger. That's an
wow.
oops. Oh, what the
Wait,
heck?
this is like the shiny new laptop, right?
Wait,
Yeah. Hold on, you're coming out the wrong output.
Wait.
You're fine. Don't worry about it. You don't need those checks.
hold on, it's just,
Really?
it's...
Chat seems to say they can hear you.
No, you can hear us. You're in the audio. You're just coming out of our wrong headphones.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah, hold on. How's that?
Neat.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, everybody.
Cheers.
Technical difficulties. Actually, okay.
Streamlabs might be freaking out a little bit too.
Well, Streamlabs is getting up to speed
Is
after
readjusting.
when the laptop goes crasho, Streamlabs goes crasho.
That makes sense. Whew. Okay. Let's see.
Let's just see if we can get back to where we were
Yeah, I'm
going.
glad the audio is coming through. The visual
There we
still
go.
streams kind of.
Yeah, give it a minute.
Yeah.
We might need to move around so we know when it's fixed.
Oh, the frame updated.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
It's just gonna take a second to come back to life. Sorry about
All
that,
right.
everybody. Classic OSP technical difficulties. I don't know why we still stream.
I believe you fuzzed out when you were describing Philly in some way.
Whatever I was saying, it doesn't matter.
Aww.
You were saying
I
that
had an
Indigo
anecdote about
is
New
the
York.
Philly.
Yeah, Indigo
Yeah.
is very Philly. That's about where that discussion started and ended.
Yeah. I did want to mention that at one point I was staying in a hotel in Boston, and I guess the hotel had a lot of people in it, and so they kind of set up like this cab line outside, and one of the people who was attempting to leave the hotel didn't get the memo, and she just kind of strolled merrily out into the middle of the street to go all the way to the front to grab a cab. And I guess the bellhop who apparently was the most Bostonian man to ever live, because I just hear ringing out across the parking lot, "Hey lady, do me a favor," which apparently means, "Excuse me, miss, the line is over here."
Yeah, it's close.
It
It
was
means
beautiful.
more, hey, stop being a beep and get back in the line.
Yeah.
Quit
No,
being
it
a
was great. It was
douchebag.
great because I saw the lady and I was like, should I say something? And then like a rescuing angel, he sweeps in. Good stuff. All right, let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still getting
Frames.
Still
slideshow video quality.
wildly laggy. I'm wondering if new OS pod, someone says new OS pod. Very funny. I wish I could like refresh Streamlabs. Refresh chat.
Is it this
Yeah.
button? Nope, right below that. Nope, see the refresh arrow?
Oh no, that's just the
Okay.
the alerts.
Oh, hold on.
What about this one?
Nope.
Hmm.
You know, it's annoying when I time out a user. Sometimes it takes a little while to stick.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
no,
just
I've
have
had
to
that problem too, where
Watch
you put them in
them pinging
timeout.
around in the for a few minutes.
Maybe under settings? It would probably be under video. No, video. Right below audio is
Oh,
video.
sorry.
It's okay.
They're also saying there's no game audio. Would it be possible to?
I can just yeah, I
Streamlabs
can
is like,
I can take out the game and just re-add them.
yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. All right, everybody, please stand by. The visuals might get a little weird for a bit.
Well, I mean, there will be no visual.
It'll just be black.
Well, hopefully. One can never tell.
Bloop.
Just gonna drag that. Boink.
A little big, yeah.
Well, I mean, it
Okay.
has to go to the top and the bottom.
Oh, good, and our heater's gonna just start banging.
Yep. Love when it does that.
Everyone enjoying this playthrough?
Okay, cool. We are back. Now we know whenever
okay.
it gets wonky, just kill it and re-add it.
All right. Well, once the stream catches up, I'll be able to see what we're looking at now.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. So I'm just going to jump into this vault to retrieve Ares' essence, and we can just be on
Casual.
our way. Soup's cash,
Soup's cash.
he said without a
yes.
hint of
Oh,
irony.
that's way better.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. We are fully back at all the frames per second.
Hacker voice. I'm in.
I'm in. Woo!
Yeah.
Right. Everyone enjoying this playthrough?
Now I know. Don't skimp on getting the right charger. Even if you're pretty well charged, it's gonna turn into crap if it gets down to the 5% mark. Because it's like, just because a lot of other chargers are compatible with your laptop doesn't mean you should use those.
Yeah.
Oops. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. I much respect the people who stream on like Twitch all the time.
Well, they have a setup.
Terrifying.
They have a setup.
Yeah.
They don't have to like unplug and replug everything every time they stream.
Most of them probably have more than one desk in their entire
Yeah,
living
seriously.
area.
Floating orichalcum cubes. Activate or deactivate the floating state of the orichalcum cubes by shooting an arrow at them, or by hitting them with a charged
shoot
attack.
it.
Cool. All right, a little bit of platforming.
Minor amounts of platforming, as a treat.
A little bit of platforms in the vault.
Oh boy.
Ah,
That's a
yes,
lot of
platforming. Always the least frustrating part of any video game.
Exactly.
It's not early.
Oh, they just fully fall.
Yeah.
Ha!
It is not early enough for bed. But like, what if it was?
Oh man. I've been slowly trying to fix my sleep schedule, and one side effect of this is that I've been getting sleepy at like normal people's sleepy times, like 10 p.m. But I can't go to sleep that early because if I do, it'll be a nap, and I'll wake up at like, midnight, super energized, and that'll mean going to sleep at the healthier time of 4 a.m. will be much more difficult, so... sleep. It's very frustrating that we die if we don't do it.
Yeah, it's really just unfair.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take a nap.
Honestly, same. There we go. This is a pretty cool set of visuals. I like that the constellations this time are just like evil and red. It's a fun aesthetic. And Ares should be somewhere on here. He might be behind those things. That's fine. Is this health for me? No. It's just a lamp. Bonk.
I am a big fan of floating boxes and pretty space environments, so...
It is kind of funny that they just, like, gingerly float out of the way. Alright, what are we doing? Big Angry Chain. Okay. Sounds good.
The best kind of chain.
Getting a lot of God of War vibes here. I'm really excited for if that new God of War game, Ragnarok, does end up happening this year. I'm real excited to play it. Because the first God of War game was just so good.
Do you mean the first of the Norse God of War
Yeah,
games?
yeah. The first
God of War game
new...
was a little rough.
Yeah. The original one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Mostly we
for,
like Boy.
Yeah,
Boy.
yeah, no, Boy is great. I am excited for them to. Let's see, would this be like the third time they've killed Kratos, or the fourth? I don't remember.
So Kratos dies in God of Wars 1, 2, and 3. The only one he doesn't
Alright.
fully die in is God of War 2018.
Neat. Okay, so
Yeah.
this will be the fourth time he dies.
Yeah.
I like how they're making a big deal out of it too. Like,
Yeah.
with the prophecy and the freeze on the wall, it's like, oh no, not again.
Yeah. In God of War 1, it's a big thing that you die and claw your way back out. In God of War 2, you like kind of fall into the pits of Tartarus, but then you climb out really, really quickly because like you're not fully dead, you just fell into the underworld. Big difference. In God of War 3, you die twice in God of War 3. Similar situation. You get
makes up
knocked
the
down
difference.
into the underworld and have to fight your way back out at the very beginning of the game. But then at the end, you like die, which is where the scar on Kratos's chest comes from, that he has in God of War 4. And then at the end of that, something happens. He winds up in the Norse lands, and then he doesn't die at the end of that one, but he like kind of does.
Well, he
He
prophecy.
gets prophesied. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
there's a step between actually dying and just being prophesied to die. Big difference. It's implied, but like you're not actually there yet.
Yeah. So it's like that's probably gonna happen in God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
In the fun words of Doctor Who, you can't just expect to come back every time you die. When don't I?
Wait, when did they say that?
It's I forget exactly which episode it is. It's with Amy and Rory. Amy's like, you can't just expect to come back when you die, and Rory's like, yeah, but when don't I? Like,
Oops.
Rory or
That's my alarm.
yep, sorry.
you to do the
Just
thing.
means I have to do actual work stuff.
Yeah.
horrifying.
Well, I might not. I just have to see if I have to do work now or if I have to do work tomorrow.
Ooh.
The ever-present question.
OSP streams are fun because all of the professionalism that we do gets like put into the videos and the streams and like the other stuff, and then
You mean the podcast?
or,
not
yeah,
the
the
stream.
podcast,
Yeah,
and then the
not the
streams
streams.
is just the nonsense.
The stream we're all just like sipping coffee and staring into the wilderness like, hi.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could use coffee. It's a little late for that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's
a little
never
bit.
stopped me before.
I would make coffee, but I mean, I am trying to get the sleep schedule under control, and I feel like the last thing that needs is the addition of a chemical stimulant.
It depends. If it wakes you up in the time that you need to be awake, as long as it doesn't keep you awake in the time you need to be asleep, it's not the worst.
Well, that's the tricky part. Usually the main problem I have is getting to sleep. Like, I can be there just chilling for like 2.5 hours, and my brain just will not shut up. And it's hard for me to tell if coffee affects that at all, because it happens to me even on a regular day. But I don't want to potentially make it way worse
Yeah.
before I've developed like an actually good like rhythm of sleep habits and stuff.
See, I've just like never really had a good sleep schedule, and now I'm like kind of on a decent-ish schedule, but
Hey, that's nice.
well, it's mostly just because
Stuff.
I am heavily medicated for my insomnia now. So
Oh.
turns out that like you should actually be able to sleep every night.
One would hope.
Wildly.
Sounds fake, but okay.
I know, right?
Yeah. What's interesting is there's like there's a family history of various kinds of insomnia on my dad's side, but it's like different with every person. So my dad and his brother both like wake up super early. Whereas I stay up super late and wake up super late. So for years,
Well,
even though
that's
it was like a known factor that like everyone in my family sleeps weird, for some reason it didn't click that maybe the reason I was basically a zombie for my entire high school years were because I was being forced to wake up at like 6 a.m. every day,
Yep.
when naturally I'd be going to sleep probably in the vicinity of 4 a.m. So, good stuff. Oh my god, that box is fully stuck in there.
Yeah.
Sorry, the stream caught up. Physics engines.
Oh wait, so Red, you can't even slightly see what? Oh no, you're watching it on YouTube, right? All right.
Yeah. If we were trying to stream it through Discord, I'd be able to see it live, but that would be more trouble than it's worth and potentially drop the audio quality. So.
Yeah, when we record the podcast, sometimes we do video, and that like tanks us enough that we're like, okay, we'll just talk to each other. We know what we look like.
Yeah.
But how will you record audio if you can't see each other's beautiful faces?
Yeah, right?
I'll just like hold up like a freeze frame of the red and blue chibis, and I'll be like, okay, that makes sense.
It's us.
I can fill in the gaps.
I might need to make dumplings tonight because we finally got a little bamboo steamer basket. And by that, I mean I went out to H Mart with a friend and came back and Blue was like, when did you buy all these things? I'm like, it's just snacks and a bamboo steamer. And also dumplings to go into the bamboo steamer.
Well, naturally. No point in getting a bamboo steamer without things to put in it.
He's like, where are we gonna put this? I'm like, I don't know, it's a small one, it's fine.
Yeah, just stack it on something. That never ends badly.
Well, everything in this apartment is stacked on something. The microwave is inside of a, like, freestanding shelf.
Huh. I mean, there are worse places to put a microwave.
Not many.
When you said the microwave is inside of, I was like, oh no, where? The oven, the fridge?
Nah. There's not enough room in the fridge for a microwave.
So there's the shoe rack, and then just inside of that, if you open the drawer, there's the microwave.
Ah, perfect.
Oh, damn it. Ah, nuts.
Messed up.
Oh no.
You
We're good,
done?
I'm awake, it's fine.
These, like, big puzzles are, like, for as wonky as they can be, they are actually pretty fun.
Good.
They're not quite as interesting as, like, a Zelda dungeon, because the whole appeal of those is that the space, like, moves and changes. Like, you know, the water temple, you raise and lower the volume of the water, and in the Divine Beast, you change how they move. But in these ones, it's just kind of like, it's just a big puzzle box with puzzles inside of it. It's still fun, but it's not quite the same as the Zelda good at dungeon design.
What I think was interesting about the way Breath of the Wild did that is, because they gave you so much freedom of movement, they kind of had to make it so none of the puzzles really involved getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Because you could probably finagle or physics engine your way over, and it wouldn't be that hard. So instead, it's more like, okay, get here and also activate this thing. Oh man, there's one of the Divine Beasts has a puzzle in it where it's like there's this rotating thing with two big slidey orbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a box with the terminal you need in it, and there's spikes in it, so if you're in it when it goes upside down, you just die.
Oh,
One
that's
of the people I saw
Campbell. That's
playing it-
Vonaboris.
Yeah. One of the people I saw playing it, just kind of like spent a really long time just trying to like physics their way into it by like freezing it for just long enough that they could get in there and getting to the console just long enough. And I think they actually maybe pulled it off.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
like that definitely isn't how you're supposed to do that. But you know, if you're not one for the real intellectual puzzles and you see a way that will work if you get the timing exactly right, you can try it. Which I like because, you know, the main other Zelda game that I played through is Twilight Princess, and basically all the puzzles in there are like, get object from dungeon that will allow you to traverse this very specific thing that you cannot traverse otherwise. Go.
Well, it's like, could we play, it wasn't Wind Waker. Which one do we have?
Oh, Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening. It's like, there are some times where it's like, you can jump over literally anything, and other times it's like, oh, can't go in here yet, and it's like, why
Just can't.
not?
What's the difference?
Yep. It's multiple wall fairies visited. Sorry. You can't come in here. Yeah. What I did like about Breath of the Wild is because they're really not afraid to give you that mobility, and so many other Zelda games are just entirely built on like, gosh, how are you ever gonna get up there? Good luck. And it's just like, I get it. I want to get up there. It's what I want to do. Why won't you let me go?
Like, there are definitely plenty of times in Breath of the Wild where we climbed something we arguably should not have been able to climb. Not by doing the normal thing of eating food or restoring your stamina, but by just finding a slightly sticky outy ledge and waiting on there until your stamina refilled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still less janky than, like, Skyrimming up your horse, where it's fully 45 degrees face on with the side of a mountain.
Yeah. But, you know, I kind of really respect that. Like, it seems like when they were doing the level design for Breath of the Wild, they were like, listen, if they can tank the damage, they deserve to get up there.
Yeah.
Like,
That's,
know they did that on purpose, because that's the entire way you get the Master Sword. It's like, if you can tank the 13 hearts of damage, you're worthy. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I just think that's really neat, because
It is.
I feel like it's kind of spoiled a lot of other games. It's like, well, if I can't climb every vertical wall and fly from any location to any other location, what are you even doing, man?
Why
clipping
am
my
I
wings?
playing your game?
Yeah, come on.
Of course, the real strategy is just, like, you gotta boomy-zoomy it, where you do the wind bomb and basically, like, blow yourself up.
Oh, yeah, what could go wrong?
Have you ever seen that, Red?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some Breath of the Wild stuff, but
It's basically the
mostly-
current, like, default distance traversal speedrunning strat, where you drop one of your remote bombs behind you, and then you drop the other one slightly after, and you blow up the first one, and it knocks the second one into you, which then sends you flying, even though it only does, like, a quarter heart of damage. So you can cross insane distances by basically, like, ragdolling yourself into the stratosphere. It's amazing.
that is hilarious, especially if you consider what in-universe the various ghosts and spirits that hang around Link must be thinking when you do that.
Yes.
Zelda's like, oh, not again, and then you just go flying like, whoa!
Rivali's like, oh, that bastard, he figured it out.
Mipha's like, I will heal you. Oh, you don't need my help. Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose that's fine.
Or more like, Mipha's like, I'll be there when you land. Relocate all your broken bones.
Mood.
It is so funny, though, the idea of Rivali getting so offended that you're not even using the gale to do that.
Yeah. That's true.
Like, I gave you the gift of flight, and you just blow yourself up, you smartass! Oh, no.
Would Rivali hate or respect Link more for blowing himself up repetitively?
Hate.
I think he'd be mad, but then, like, after he had a couple hours to process it, he'd be like, oh, motherfucker, that's actually really smart.
He'd be mad because he thinks it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part of it, is that Rivali would be impressed.
Like, you know, if I had a Sheikah Slate, I could do that too. It's not that impressive.
We didn't actually end up explaining the musical thing. We kind of brought it up
Oh,
and
yeah.
then tangentied off of it, but there's a whole thing with the music in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. The short of it is that all four Divine Beast themes, if you listen in the background, they have like this kind of electronic beeping tone at various intervals. And some people noticed that you can make out an SOS Morse signal in a lot of them. And if you listen through it, and you notice where the SOS is and when it comes in, you can read into it a lot. And it's very painful. I don't know. It's really fun.
Oh,
We did a Twitter thread about it with links to the music. Because, man, I hadn't listened to them in isolation, but the Divine Beast themes are so melancholy.
They're good, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's obviously the tone you want for a dungeon, but, like, you know, when you're playing the game and you're listening to it, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm in a spooky environment. There's music, but also there's, like, you know, slashy fight noises and Link going, ha! All the time,
Yeah.
so I'm not that surprised. But then, you know, you listen to the music, and then if you're listening for the SOS code, like, there's a few ways to interpret it. So a few people have been like, maybe, like, you know, the divine beasts, they are kind of like ancient magitech with like sort of computer systems in them. So it makes sense that they're essentially like all the diagnostics they have been like, something's wrong, what the fuck, for like 100 years straight. But the other way you can interpret it is that each musical score, you could essentially use it to score the last few minutes of each of the champions when their divine beasts were corrupted by Calamity Ganon. And if you do that, and you listen for when the SOS comes in, it paints a picture. A very depressing picture.
Yes.
Yeah. So for instance, the one with Mifa, I think that's Varuda?
Yeah, the elephant one.
That one has the SOS going through the entire song. Like, it's just there in the background the whole time. And that's sad all on its own. But if you compare it to the ones with Daruk and Urbosa, they fire off an SOS at the beginning, and then basically that's it. Like, it sometimes repeats in the background, like they're taking a quick break from fighting their respective blight to pop over to the console and fire off another, anytime, guys! And then Rivali, his doesn't come in for 4 minutes. It's one signal, it's really fast and frantic, and then sad as fuck.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. He's, you know, of all the champions, he's the one who, like, actually there's two ways to interpret it, because a few people in the comments said that they could actually hear an SOS early, but it sounds like it gets cut off early. So in that case, it's like, Rivali, either he's much too prideful to fire off an SOS until he has no other choice, and by then it's already too late. Or he starts sending the signal, realizes the others are sending signals, and switches his off so they get helped first if someone's coming.
Oh, jeez.
I know! It's so, like, they give us in the game enough of these characters to get a feel for their personality, and it's like, that's good. But also you're like, I mean, these guys are already dead. Like, I mean, we were friends, but I don't even remember them, and they're already dead, so that's sad. But then if you get a glimpse into, like, no, these guys were actually, like, noble, heroic champions of their people, there's a very tragic story buried in the background there. And it's just, so good.
Yeah.
It hurts a lot. And that's what I like to see from my, my game lore fridge horror. Actually, I realized I threw that term around without mentioning it. So fridge horror is essentially, it's an offshoot of the trope fridge brilliance, which is essentially the space of things where, like, you watch a movie or you know, a show, and then 2 hours later when you're looking in the fridge for a snack, something clicks, and you're like, wait, that's brilliant! Like, something they did in the story didn't click before then, but then you're like, I get it. Like, you connect a couple dots. Fridge horror is when you do that, but you're like, oh, no!
Yeah.
Yeah, I think BDG actually mentioned it in his video about the Punjab pit in Tony Hawk.
Yeah, the punchy pit. What's the punchy pit?
Yeah. But this is one of those things, it's like, you're not really, you know, if you play the game through, you're like, yeah, it's sad, they're dead. But, you know, it doesn't smack you in the face with how utterly horrifying that, like, hour or so where everything went to shit must have...
Hey, Todd?
Like,
What the
remembers.
fuck?
He just remembers dying. Yeah.
Can I really not get this one? Oh, come on. That is extremely frustrating.
You start the game off as like, what the fuck happened? Where am I? Who am I? Where are my pants? And then, you know, you get through the game, and if you do the memory things, you get back individual memories, and you talk to people who are like, I still don't remember. That's okay. It wasn't that important anyway. Anyway, moving on. But if you go looking for the clues, you can piece it together just like the characters could. And it's sad, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a yikes. It's a testament to how well written that game is.
Oh yeah.
Damn, like they put so much work into it to let those kinds of things happen, where if they didn't put in the effort to put so much character into the champions with very little screen time, it really wouldn't have connected as well as it ended up doing. So that's some good writing.
It's good writing. What I also like about that is that, like, every Zelda game has some kind of, like, horrifying thing implied in the background. Like, but most of them, it doesn't really quite match the tone. Like, you know, Wind Waker, you are playing a post-apocalyptic Hyrule where everything's gone to shit and it's flooded, and the entire setting of all the previous games is completely destroyed. Like, I think that's even the timeline where a former Link loses. So like you're officially in the bad timeline, but you know it's cheerful and cartoony and cell shaded, and everyone's having a good time, and your boat can talk, and it's like if you think really hard about it, you're like, it's kind of fucked. Yeah, it's kind of creepy, and like when you're exploring the sunken, you know, Hyrule Castle, and the king of all boats is like, oh, your ancestors ruled this kingdom, but you know, it's all flooding and shit. Let's move on with our lives.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you know, there's horror there, but it's really buried. Whereas with Breath of the Wild, the whole thing has such a melancholy vibe from the very beginning that, like, yeah, it's colorful and beautiful and like a Ghibli movie, and you're having a good time playing it most of the time. But also, it doesn't really jar you to learn that there's a horrifying... Because you know, like, you wake up in something called the Shrine of Resurrection 100 years after everything went to shit. You're not going to be surprised to learn that shit got bad.
Exactly.
It's like you officially started off this run by dying. Like, come on, we all know that's what happened. It's like, oh, maybe he got healed. It's... come on. They don't call it the Shrine of Oopsie. Here's a Band-Aid.
The shrine of the school nurse.
The
The shrine of do you want SpongeBob or Dora Band-Aids instead? Yeah, no. You died. You straight up died, and Zelda was like, ah, no! And had her goddess powery thing, and then stuck you in a shrine so you could regrow. And then she went off and did the thing that sets up the premise of the game. And you're like, well, take two, I guess.
Link take two Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. What I also like about that is that, as I understand it, in Hyrule Warriors, like, you're at a pretty high power level.
Yep.
Doing serious damage, which means that it recontextualizes the beginning of the game where that 100-year nap really Metroided you pretty hard. You're like, you know, 3 hearts, can't even take out an entire army of bokoblins in one swing? What happened to you, man? It's almost like you died and spent 100 years regenerating.
Link's like, you gotta go back to PT, I guess. I'm back with a mocha this time.
Yay!
Made with, of course, instant coffee because I am far too lazy to make good coffee right now.
Yeah, it's fine.
We have like a large variety of instant coffees, and then the one good coffee that I'll drink if I have enough energy to actually make a coffee.
Yeah, that is the conundrum, isn't it? Like, coffee gives you energy, but you need the energy to make it.
Mm-hmm. But it's at least instant espresso powder, so it's pretty decent.
Oh, nice.
Are you still trying to do this thing?
I'm trying to get the chest at the top of this this little archway up here.
Would it make sense to like take it down? Are you trying to like smash the archway, or are you trying to climb up?
No, I've got to climb up on the orichalcum blocks.
Wee.
Oops, fuck.
'Cause you had a
Nailed it.
I will say, while I love the melancholy of like playing Breath of the Wild right and sort of slowly exploring this ruined world and finding out your role in it, and there's sort of this pervasive feeling that like it's not that you failed exactly because you were fighting impossible odds, but you didn't win last time, and now you have to win even though things are way worse than they were. Mm-hmm. But in that context, the speed runs become so much funnier.
It's like, good morning, let's eat some stuff, get no clothes, and go.
Zelda's like, Link, at last, you have been revived. Finally. Okay, now be really careful. We only get one shot at where are you going? What's happening? Meanwhile, like, the champions are like, oh, about time he woke. What's going on?
It's like, do you not even want our help? And Link is like, nope. I got him. Just give me an axe and a pot lid. I don't even need pants.
Yeah, it's like Breath of the Wild, only shields. It's like, all right.
All right. It's just funny from the perspective of the champions. Like, Urbosa wakes up like, oh, he's back. Okay, all right. Let's prep for this. He's gonna need my power. And wait, where is he? Wait, since when? Rivali's like rehearsing his speech. Like, all right, I'm gonna open with, took your sweet time. No, that's too harsh. Let's go with kept you waiting, huh? No, that's somebody else's. And then, meanwhile, it's just like, ding, and then suddenly the Divine Beast is utterly cleansed as Calamity Ganon is wiped from the world, and he's just like, that motherfucker didn't even stop by!
That makes the meme speedruns even funnier by comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Because Link wakes up and he's like, I'm not even going to use a weapon.
Link wakes up with 3 hearts and an eternity of rage in his heart.
Very
Calamity
on
Ganon.
brand.
Yeah, if Calamity Ganon is even still, like, sentient at this point, he's just like, soon I shall overwhelm the goddess, and wait, what is that? What is that? Instead of
Ganon's
Zelda
like,
being-
okay, we've got 100 years. This should be enough time that we don't have to deal with Link the Twink again. Okay, it'll be fun. No, fuck.
No.
Damn. Alright, here he is.
Instead of Zelda being like, do you really remember me? She's like, wow, that was really good job, man.
You couldn't have done that 100 years ago? Like, come on.
Yeah, wow.
Zelda's like, Jesus Christ, Link, are you okay?
Do you know what I've been through in the last 9 years?
It's like, wow, you know, I feel kind of silly that, like, it took the most traumatic event of my life to awaken my powers, and you just beat him with a pot lid and an axe and no pants. Like, wow. No, it's fine. I was really working through that inferiority complex, what with single-handedly holding off the embodiment of evil for a century. But no, this is fine. This is great. It's all good.
And also, could you please put on some pants? Like,
Yeah,
seriously?
please. This is very distracting. How are you still cut? It's been 100 years.
Shrine of Regeneration also make sure that it never skips leg day.
The Shrine of Sick fucking Gains.
It's like every like week or so, it like pops up Link's body and just kind of does a few squats with it, and puts it back in the pool. Oh no,
God.
we're very silly. I'm excited for Mummy Ganon or whatever the hell they're doing in Breath of the Wild too, because it's like I feel like Breath of the Wild kind of glossed
Thirst
over
Blight Ganon.
Thirst Blight Ganon, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, the second stage of the fight is when he rehydrates, of course. It's all buff again.
Dehydrated
just, you know,
Ganon, rehydrated Ganon. It's like,
It's just, you know, I gotta wonder. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, it's like the BDG thing where it's like, dry Bowser. It's like, if I die, do I become dry Brian? You now have dry Ganon.
Dry Ganon.
Yeah, we have Dry Ganon. It's just, I gotta wonder, like, Breath of the Wild kind of glossed over where the fuck Calamity Ganon came from. It's like, everyone knows the thing about, like, what I like about Breath of the Wild is it's clear that at this point they've wised up to the whole, okay, chosen hero, chosen by the goddess, and the bad guy. Like, we know it's happened like 15 times. It's always some elven twink with a sword. Yeah, we know it's him. And, you know, that's the whole thing with Zelda being like, yeah, it's kind of cool that you have a chosen one destiny that you're comfortable with because you just need to hit stuff with a sword. Mine is a little more existentially complicated.
Well, I think technically,
But
don't
of course
they...
that means...
I was gonna say, they kind of discussed that in one of, like, the Zelda journal entries that you have to find
Yeah.
when you're running around the castle. She's just like, Link doesn't talk because, you know, too much pressure.
Socially awkward. Yeah. And I like that because it's like, it's not pretending like, oh, who the fuck is Link? Like, come on, we all know who Link is. This is the Breath of the Wild. This is the game for people who know what Zelda is.
Mhm.
And what that means is they gloss over Ganon, kind of, because it's like, well, obviously Ganon's out there somewhere, being evil and shit, but normally you expect it to be like, you know, kind of a evil overlord, haha, now I shall blast an energy ball at you, that you must hit back at me, that kind of thing. And instead it's just like, no, sorry, he's a hurricane made of nightmares, and have fun with that. And like the most you get is that in the final battle, Zelda's like, he sacrificed his ability to reincarnate to throw all of his power at you, and it's like, he did what? To what? What does that mean? But it's not like you can ask that, because you're in combat and stuff.
And also, you don't
Just
talk.
pulls up a dialogue wheel for Link to ask lore questions to Zelda.
Well, they tried that in Skyward Sword, and it was a terrible idea, so I'm glad they didn't do that again. It's not like he even talks, it's just like, maybe he's just doing, I don't know, Hylian sign language really fast, and Impa's like, foolish boy, of course I'll answer your questions. But, glad they didn't
Also,
do
the
that.
funny thing about Zelda's diary is that the implication is Link does talk sometimes, it's just off screen.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like that, because, you know, sometimes people are like that, you know, selective mutism is totally a thing, and I kind of like how they were like, yeah, no, Link can talk, technically.
But he don't.
He don't, and he has no reason to. Like, who the fuck is he supposed to talk to in this game? He's just going from point A to point B, and everyone is like, Link, it's been ages, how you been? Oh, right, the end of the world thing. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll let you get to it, buddy. And he's just like, okay.
Float. Try not
Wait,
to get hit by
trick
it.
shot, trick shot.
Boom! Bap!
First try.
We still have to go finish shoveling the car
We still have to go finish shoveling the car.
before it all.
Oh no.
Well, the thing is, it's cold enough today that like it's not melting and refreezing, so I haven't been in a rush. And we couldn't even move the car until after 1 p.m. because of the snow emergency.
Right.
So there's just been like no reason to go. But I should probably do that because otherwise I'm gonna have to do it at 6:15 tomorrow. Not feeling that.
Get back here, you stupid block. There we go.
Woo.
Said Link to Ganon as he was fighting him, presumably.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm excited for Breath of the Wild 2 to kind of expand on the whole, like, what the fuck was up with Ganon? Like, who was he before he turned into a rage tornado?
Yeah. Oh, hell. I did. That's okay. Man, they really let you fall a long time in these vaults.
Yeah,
It's a little
the kill floor
unsettling.
is pretty far.
They really want you to feel how much you messed up.
Yeah.
It's like when you click outside the map in Sonic Boom, and there is no kill floor. You just fall forever. Getting shinier and shinier as you approach the center of the lighting engine, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
It's existentially terrifying. That is, I gotta say, that's something I really don't like. I don't like clipping issues in video games. They freak me out so much. Like, I don't know. When you're trying to get immersed in a game and suddenly it's like, you can't trust that the floor exists. I'm like, no! No
Not
gracias.
a fan of that.
I mean, but that's realistic, because, like, can you ever trust that the floor exists?
Okay, Descartes.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
I'll stop.
Oh, now I'm just remembering Skyward Sword.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Did I knock the thing over?
Uh-oh.
No, it's just stuck there. No,
I think the wind
There we go.
affects your...
it might. There we go. I think I have to throw it up just gingerly.
Blech. Can you jump with it and then release it?
Unfortunately, no.
Ew.
Yeah. Let's give that little kick.
They move so slowly too.
Yeah, damn it. I wonder if it's asking me to, like, jump on top of it.
Someone said, yeah,
I'm just gonna put forward that
maybe you
a
should
game
ride on it.
Yeah.
where the puzzles are this time consuming and annoying, maybe the puzzles aren't great design.
No, that's valid. The puzzles in this
Yeah.
are okay, but distinctly not fantastic.
Like, it seems like the point of the puzzle is, you know, not to just hand you the solution, you need to work for it. But also, it's like, if you know the solution, it's just that the game is fighting you on putting it into action. It's like, it's okay.
And these ones are especially long because it's like the big one for the end of the, not for the end, but like for the story of the god in question.
Right.
Bonk. That is funny. No, get back here. Gonna hold you right there. And trick shot you.
Trick
Get
shot!
out of here. Another one? Ugh. How long have we been going for? Hour and a half. Okay.
Yep, not bad.
Where does this thing even go? Clearly over that way. But, oh. You.
Oh look, a magic chest.
You know, as much as I think Skyward Sword was kind of whack, I am a little bit disappointed that none of the games have acknowledged Fee since then. It's like,
Are you
Yeah.
disappointed?
I am! I honestly am. I feel like the fact that she was so annoying was not her fault. Like, it was just that the way that her mechanic was designed, she just ended up interrupting you like 4 times a minute
Yeah,
with stuff
yeah.
that you'd already figured out. It's like, It's like she was basically a tutorial mechanic that you should have been able to set to not easy mode. So she wouldn't just pop up and be like, Link, I think you should go to the thing on the minimap that says you should go to it. Bye. It's like, but the concept of like a spirit in the sword who was like besties with your first incarnation, that's kind of neat. Like she was there for all of it, and that none of the games have even brought her up since then is kind of a bummer.
I mean, that's fair. I guess I can imagine a situation in which, like, the character is actually done well and is redeemed.
Could
That's
be good
definitely
world
doable.
building, but was not good world building.
Yeah.
See, this is like my opinion on how they should let Hayden Christensen play Anakin with an actual good on the script. Because, like, it's not his fault that didn't work out so hot. That movie made Samuel L. Jackson and Natalie Portman look like bad actors. It's not his fault. I don't know, man. I think that any character can be good in the right context with the right writing behind them, and
Yeah.
if the concept behind them is interesting, I think they should be given, you know, the chance to actually be good at it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I think they should bring back the Twilight Realm, because Midna's the coolest,
Yeah.
and it's annoying that they used that once, and then they were like, oh, sorry, smashed the mirror. You'll never see her again. It's like, fuck that noise. Bring her back. She was cool.
I venture we maybe get Twilight Realm in the new Breath of the Wild sequel.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. But they could also just introduce another, like, creepy, phantomy, shadowy
Is that
thing.
your laptop chugging?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just like took one earbud out and I hear like.
Yeah, the fan is really going. Fan is really on it today. All right. Now we finished the thing. Get to get some health for the times that I fell off the cliff. Thank you. Get to smash this and then fight the big boss. Danger ahead. You're about to face a tough enemy. Make sure you're ready and stocked up before going ahead. You can exit the vault by using the vault menu and return directly to this point. Sounds like quitter talk for losers.
Okay, chat is actually saying that they kind of do a cheeky little reference to Fee in Breath of the Wild, in that
Oh.
Zelda references the voice of the sword, which is kind of neat, and
Huh.
I like that.
So maybe it will be back in the next one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Very neat.
Excuse me, Jesus.
Kotos the All-Seeing. Red, is there any mythological precedent for this character? Because I have no idea what's going on here.
That's a good question. The stream hasn't caught up yet, but I'll look it up.
Okay.
It's K-O-T-T-O-S. Looks like a spider, but two of the legs are for standing. Oh no, it just has 6 arms and a
Huh.
normal set of feet.
Well, it's an enemy in Final Fantasy X.
Oh.
Ah, no, okay, he's one of the Hekatonkery.
Okay, you know,
Oh.
I was wondering if he's
I didn't think there were enough eyes for that.
yeah, it's supposed
Well-
to be at like 100, but this guy's got like 10, so
Each
Yeah.
eye has 10 smaller eyes inside of it.
Ew. Why are you doing this to me, man?
I don't know, it looks like a spider. It could have spider eyes.
Spider eyes aren't the problem. Nested eyes, I'm not a fan of.
Oh
Let's-
no, I wasn't thinking of them as nested. I
all
was
right,
just...
let's move on the conversation. We don't need to dally here. Both of you has tryptophobia. We don't need to linger.
Yep, we're donesies. Oh yeah, I get it. It's spider-like in the sense that he's got a lot of arms, but
Well, no, he's just got specifically 8 legs.
all right, yeah, it's a little weak, but yeah.
Yeah, because I was like trying to figure out what it was. I'm like, well, he's got 8 limbs. Oh no, he just has 6 arms. That's fine.
That reminds me for some reason. I'm excited for the new Spider-Man game.
Oh, which new Spider-Man game?
The one where it's the Spider-Man PS4 2, right? Like
Oh.
they're doing the Miles Morales thing.
Miles Morales? No, that one already came out.
What? But
Yeah.
okay, but they have to do another one because they didn't do the thing about Harry Osborn, right?
Yeah. No, this isn't the sequel.
Right.
The next
Sorry,
Spider-Man
yes.
game will presumably have Peter Parker as the main character again.
Yeah,
This Miles
that's the
one
one I'm
was
excited
just was like a kind of like Uncharted Lost Legacy type thing, which I love as a model for game design, where you have like your big game, and then before you make the sequel, you make just like a smaller offshoot of that game,
Yeah.
which uses
Just
the same engine,
more.
so the tech is all there. It's just you like add a new story and new environments and stuff. That's such a great use of assets, where it's like you can just make another game like a year and a half later, and then it's a great standalone experience. That's not like, a 40-hour campaign. It doesn't have to be. What's going on there?
They did tell you you could leave.
Is that Hercules? Who is that?
I mean, we saw Hercules earlier, remember when... I think it was
Yeah,
Hercules.
no. We'll see. But
It might be Achilles, you know, very rage. Much anger.
we already dealt with him back in Aphrodite's realm. But the second one will probably come out in a couple more years.
Yep.
But it'll be
excited.
great when it does.
I like how they're kind of remixing stuff from Spider-Man under the assumption that we know who Spider-Man is at this point and who most of his bad guys are.
Yeah. Man, this is a long loading screen to get out of the vault. Usually it doesn't take this long.
So I've been wearing these baby Yoda slippers around the house today because I did not have to go into work this morning due to snow. Which
Beautiful.
is good, except for the fact that I'm also wearing a fairly nice dress with a lot of skirt. So every time I have to try to climb over our setup, it's like, okay, first we get Baby Yoda number 1 over because, you know, they're pretty bulky slippers. It's like, now we toss the skirt over, now we bring the next Baby Yoda over.
It's a process.
It's very much a process.
No.
We're getting a little bit close on time. I think we still got 20 minutes, but I think it'll be good to wind down soon. But this was fun, even if the stream was a little bit of a hiccup in the middle with the tech. Now I know every time we make a mistake, it's actually something I can learn from, as opposed to last time where it was just like
the will of the
OBS is
universe.
exploding and I can't do anything to stop it.
OBS is like,
Yeah.
we're gonna charge you with fraud!
You're gonna go to jail for
We're gonna
30
frame you
years.
for murder.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're already getting the number of technical difficulties down significantly. Because it's like, well, your laptop actively died on its own, which wasn't the stream's fault. And, well, let's see. Other than that, like, the audio's been working, and the balance is fine, and the game's coming through well to people,
And then
Yeah.
it's actually watchable because we
Yeah.
have a frame rate.
yeah, like a smooth frame rate that we can fix if it breaks.
And the double
this is
whole
already,
digits.
this is already like we've gone from like 6 problems per stream to 1. That's
Yeah.
huge.
That's grande. That's fair.
Also, like, I feel like we might have a slightly, I don't know, warped perspective on how, like, proper streams go from, like, dedicated streaming channels. Because I've been watching some of them more recently, and it's like, no, they get their fair share of technical difficulties. Sometimes, like,
Okay.
people are late to show up, or, Team 4-Star has been streaming a lot of Among Us with proxy chat. Proxy
that's
chat
fun.
is very janky. Or
Yeah.
at least it was when they were playing a couple weeks back. So it's like, there was at least one stream where they spent like nearly half an hour, I think, trying to get the proxy chat working.
Oh, jeez.
Because they couldn't hear some of them could hear some of them, and some others could hear some others, but like they couldn't all hear each other when they needed to. So, you know, it happens. It's just excuse me, it's just a thing. So even the people who do this constantly have to
Yeah.
grapple with tech support issues.
Threaten to crush Mount Olympus under another
Also, I didn't realize last stream we were doing the little pushy blocky puzzle with the Arachne myth. That was the 2 looms where they were both weaving their tapestries. If we zoomed out, I can show you after this. But hello, Miss
Hi,
Cleo.
littleness. You wanna come up?
Welcome. I don't know if you
She's
guys
back.
just heard that little meow coming in from off screen.
If I pick her up, she might meow again.
Oh,
Come here. Come here.
nope, she's silent.
Say hello to the
Aw.
streamers. Say hello. Give them a good meow.
She is not participating at all.
Leo, come on, you gotta yes and that shit. What are you, not a professional?
Say hello.
Nothing. Oh,
She's
there's a purr.
purring.
Yeah.
Aww. Put her up against the mic.
I'm trying.
Oh.
Say
Cleo, come on.
hello. She bapped the mic.
She bonked it.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
I heard that. Oh, beautiful.
I was like, here, purr. And then she just bapped it with her foot.
What on earth
Beautiful.
am I supposed to be doing here? I have fully no idea what this is.
She's getting lots of hugs and pets.
In an attempt to get her to meow.
Yes.
This is a stumper. I am very confused. Well, let's climb to the top and see what we can see. That's usually a good strategy. Oops.
Chat is just all Cleo right now.
That's
Yes.
because she is the best.
Instead of a Lord of Darkness, you would have a queen.
God, I gotta rewatch those movies.
They're good.
People are like,
We
can
watched
we
them.
see Cleo? I mean, if you go on either the OSP Instagram or my Instagram, you'll probably see
Check
Cleo.
out OSP Instagram for lots of Cleo.
There's, yeah, it's like 50% Cleo, 50% pictures of space at this point.
Yeah.
Kitty, 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 cat. Hi. Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
Aha. I found it. It's these dummies over
Oh,
here.
the little branch.
Yeah, it's always an environmental puzzle. Okay, so there's one here.
Oh, hello. Are you climbing on my lap? Oh, nope. Oh,
Cleo,
no,
please
Cleo, don't crash Streamlabs. Don't.
She's stepping on the keyboard, which is normally fine. The worst she can do is quit out of Word, but if she quits out of the stream, then we have problems.
Yeah.
Of course, all that means is now she really wants to get on the keyboard.
Cleo.
Oh, did we lose Red?
No, I'm still
Oh,
here,
okay,
sorry. I'm just mesmerized by the cat. Just like, on principle.
Well, you'll have to come to Boston at some point this year, at which point we will introduce you to El Gato.
It's gonna happen, and I'm so excited.
I think it literally has to happen.
It has to happen, in fact. I can't wait to be allergic to a brand new friend.
Yeah. Don't worry, she will try to climb on you.
Good, that's what I need.
I have had two sisters stay with us for brief periods of time while we've had the cat, and all of my siblings are kind of allergic to cats. One is a lot less allergic than the other. So, the first one stays over and, she sleeps on our couch, and we don't have doors, so Cleo, of course, wakes her up by standing on her chest and screaming in her face.
Of course.
She's like, yes, this is fine. And then the next sister, the one who is probably the most allergic to cats, comes to stay over, and of course, the first thing Cleo wants to do is she's like, new friend, let me love you, and sister is like,
Help.
Oh, amazing.
She's like nudging at Cleo with her foot. I'm like, don't nudge the cat. And Cleo's like, yes, scritches on the head. My favorite.
Oh, hell yeah. Nudges. Yeah. I feel kind of bad because I am absolutely that house guest who will just hang out with your pets.
Good.
Like,
Everyone should just hang out with our pet.
see, that's what I, like, if I have a friend who has a dog, I'm like, can I come over and see your dog? Like, come on. But I feel bad because it's like, I could at least pretend to socialize with the human. But the dog is right there. And the cat is just so lovable. So, it's...
Yes. Well,
I mean, sorry. When I say I am that house guest, I was that house
yes,
guest.
exactly.
Back when I could go to people's houses and hang out with their pets.
Stuck
Well,
here.
it's almost Cleo's 1-year gotcha day. It's
Yeah.
coming up soon. We're
Aw.
thinking that we might get her a little cat climbing tree. Because she
Yes.
used to have a shelf, but it's been so cold lately that the suction cups no longer stick to the window, which means she currently
Aw.
does not have a shelf. So we might need to get her a temperature-resistant looking out the window thing.
Beautiful. So she can observe the world while never
Yes.
engaging with it.
Exactly. She does not want to go outside, but she wants to see the outside.
Whenever we take her
I mean-
outside, she is not happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mood.
Yeah.
That's the mood right now.
Yeah. It is funny, though. She's started to get a little bit bolder. So she used to, when we first got her, she wouldn't even, like, if we had the apartment door open, she would run away and hide. And so, like, for example, the recycling and the trash, like, where we go and put that, is very close to our apartment. It's kind of, like, just slightly down the hall and to the right. So sometimes, we'll leave the door open to just run over there and drop it and come right back. And lately, she started, like, inching out a little more, so now she'll sit on the doormat and watch until you come back.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh.
Great.
rapidly getting bold.
Yes.
She's sitting behind the mic like, what?
Just doing
Who?
a blem.
Me?
It is funny
mean,
though.
that-
She hates
that's
going
good.
outside.
That-
She's
that's
like,
sound
humans,
bubble.
haven't you seen the newest COVID numbers? It's a hazard.
It's like, Jesus, you guys.
Cyan, why are you leaving the house? I have to work. No.
Seems
Sounds
fake.
fake. Yeah.
Hey-ya. Oh,
Nope.
Aw,
it's
big
chill here. Oh,
stretch.
big stretch.
look at that big stretch.
Little lion.
You guys got it. I mean, at this point, you have a civic duty to take a picture of her and send it to me so I can tweet it.
No, that was in the game. A lion did the
never
big
mind.
stretch.
Oh, well, whatever.
I can send you a picture from the other day of Cleo screaming at me.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
always
that's
fun.
a really great picture.
It's like, it is arguably not a good picture. Like, it's pretty low qual, but
But the emotion it captures.
Bluehead.
It's really more about what the art makes you feel.
Exactly. Bluehead stepped away for a minute, and I was on the bed, and Cleo's like, excuse me, if one of you is out of my sight, the other must be playing with me, so why are you on the bed? And I didn't listen as she was doing her little muse, so she popped up to scream in my face.
She does look a little murdery in this one, I
Yes,
gotta
she's
admit.
like, you cannot ignore me.
For thousands of years I lay dormant.
You are welcome
All
to
right,
tweet that picture if you'd like.
I'm gonna, as the obligatory, technically Cleo cameo.
Cat pic of the stream. This is the Cleo cameo. When we tweet the cat pic, that's because it's always Cleo shows up. We talk about Cleo, post a picture of Cleo. That's the cameo.
Yep. There we go.
Beautiful. This is a good stream, but I will be looking forward to just taking like a relaxing evening of not presenting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I gotta decide an ending song for a video and maybe record it today. But I think after that, I am fully donezo's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Planning on
Considering.
taking a nap just after the stream.
Ooh, good idea.
I didn't sleep the best last night.
I
Yeah.
didn't sleep that much last night because, Red, as you recall, I was asking you questions about your opinions on certain swords. It was a very helpful
Yes.
discussion. However, it cut into my sleep time by a considerable amount.
And I felt
Yeah.
bad because, like, you didn't need to be up early this morning, but you were anyway.
I mean, because I still got to do the work, even if we have a snow day. It's like as if I
Well, yeah,
start
but you could've-
slacking.
You could have started work not at 7 a.m.
Here's the thing with me and work. I'm very productive, not because I have superhuman motivation and determination and just get the thing done. It's like, well, I've got to do it, so I might as well do it now because otherwise I'll be really sad. So it's a pure value calculation that leads me to do these things. And I don't end up ever having slow days of work. Sometimes I work on things that are easier or harder, but I rarely have a slow day at work where I'm not doing anything because I could always be doing something, whether it's researching or writing or visuals or answering the frankly insane amount of emails that we get on a daily basis. I'm
Yep.
always doing something, so I never have light days or off days. And then at the end, I'm always just and then I just want to collapse.
Yeah. I feel like there's got to be a way that you can pace that out that doesn't wipe you out that much.
Sounds fake.
Well, I mean, nobody should take work-life balance advice from me. Jesus. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, you're totally right.
How does one balance work in life?
It's like, listen, I don't do weekends. Weekends are a social construct. Why would I do weekends? So already my work-life balance is completely shot. But I also I enjoy doing work because it means I'm not bored, and being bored is the worst thing in the world for me. So it's if I'm doing work that I enjoy and I'm engaging my brain, that's great. I could do that basically forever. To the point where if I'm in work mode when I try to go to sleep, it won't work because my brain will not register that it might be tired because it's busy. It's got stuff to do. So Like, I'm the least qualified person in the world to give you advice about this, but I feel like there has to be a way to schedule it where you're not, like, completely wiped at the end of each day.
I'll work on it. My professional goal for the year is to get to the point where
figure out how to job.
yeah, is to get to the point where I can take Fridays off, because I was inspired by the Google thing of like they give their employees project day every Friday, where it's like if you can do something that is like can be advantageous to Google, work on whatever the hell you want. You know, get a project clearance, and then every Friday you can just work on that. No meetings, no nonsense, project day. I don't know if they still do that. I remember reading an article about it, and I'm like, project day. So I did that a lot in like 2018 and 2019, getting out of college. And then one of the difficulties is that like when you have la COVID, it's kind of hard to take project days because you have a lot of other stuff to worry about. So I didn't really do a lot of it last year, but my goal is to like get back to work on OSP Monday, Thursday, and then Friday is like whatever the hell else I want, which is a certain thing that I'm trying to work on, but is difficult because publishing is hard to get people to read your book when you try to send them it, but then you don't actually have time to send out all those emails because I'm busy working on work. So yeah. So here we have the laser puzzle from Arachne and Athena. This is the looms where they did the work. So you see here there is a you know, I think this would be, I don't know whose this is. I think this is like Athena's version of like, look at all the gods hanging out. And oh no, it's the same tapestry twice. That's disappointing.
The other one is the ripped up one.
I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is ripped up. It does seem like it's different. This one is just the same texture doubled.
Well, because
Red, after you like fully drew both tapestries for the Arachne video, everything else is a letdown.
Well, because isn't that like the whole point that Athena messed Arachne's up?
Yeah, so this one's all ripped, which is fully myth accurate. I was looking for what was on the tapestries was the thing, but
yeah,
it is
because
kind of cool.
Arachne's
It's like
tapestry.
Athena's is like, look at this. It's the gods being cool, hanging out.
Yeah. But yeah, because Arachne's tapestry showed the gods in various states of like, you know,
being awful,
turning into animals and boning other women and stuff like that. So it would make sense for it to be a different tapestry somewhere, but it does also make sense that it's destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeet.
Have I not done this?
Have you not done this?
Oh yeah, I have. I just throw in some rocks. Yeah, I've done this one before. Yeah, so I'm back at the Athena's area of the map. I don't know. Do we want to climb anything? I think this is a good place to wind the stream down.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Let's go beat up this Cyclops. Hiya! Oh wow, he's a strong boy.
Tanky boy! Gorilla Cyclops.
This was fun. I enjoyed this. Had a meandering conversations, talked about the nuances of what the OSP day-to-day schedule is like, which I feel like is not especially interesting, but like from a fan perspective, I can understand why it's like, what the hell do they do on a day-to-day basis? What is it like for them? Because it's a job that is not very obvious in many ways, where it's like creating YouTube content. You put out a 10-minute video every week. Clearly it takes more time than that, but like what parts, how does it work? What parts are complicated? What parts are easy?
I'm actually kind of curious because I think every YouTuber has a very different creative process.
Yes.
Because among other things, like I know our upload schedule is like, you know, there are some YouTubers that do shit daily. I have no idea how they pull that off.
Daniel Green is either like a saint or like a trickster deity is somewhere because he can manage a daily upload schedule. The madman. It's insanely impressive.
Yeah, but then it's like, you know, there's a lot of long-form video essayists who put out videos basically as they occur to them. Like, I should, you know, write up a video about this or something, and then a couple months later they put it out. And we're kind of in the middle range where it's like, you know, we put out stuff every week individually. Each of us does stuff every 2 weeks. And so it's very manageable and kind of rhythmic, but it kind of makes me wonder what other YouTubers' daily schedules look like.
Yeah.
Like, how much of their time is taken up, or what else they do between video essays and stuff like that.
Yeah. This is a cool statue because the dress is made of gold. It's a nice touch.
Ooh.
Fancy.
the YouTube life is fun. It is a lot of hard work, and the joy is that, you know, it's all on you, so you can do whatever you want, but then it's all on you, so the success or failure is ultimately down to, like, you know, your skill as a presenter and a creator and a manager in many respects. There are a lot of aspects of the freewheeling YouTube content creator life that are very, very complex with, like, business stuff and like sponsorships and taxes and
That reminds me, I have to do my taxes.
yeah, the blitz of fucking TurboTax ads I've gotten recently is madness. It's because everyone's getting their tax forms right now, so it's like, oh, what are you gonna do with them tax forms? File them.
Taxes.
Yeah. So
Ugh.
anyway.
Taxes. Yeah, no, good stuff.
Isn't it funny how billionaires don't pay them?
Yay! It's been a weird year or so.
Yeah, it has.
It's gonna be really weird, like, I mean, we're pretty much already there, but, like, when we hit the 1 year anniversary of being locked down officially.
Yeah.
Like, by this time last year, we already kind of knew what was up, but...
I don't know if we did.
I remember that you guys were like, hopefully by June we'll be able to do stuff.
You might have not, but, like, where I worked, we were all very aware of it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I knew it was like a thing, but I didn't think I realized quite this early that we were going to be like going real hard into lockdown, because like Italy's lockdown wasn't until February, and that's when we realized like
it is February.
It is February.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, I remember, like, I had that sense that it was gonna get bad, but we weren't quite in the this is already bad zone, because I remember we went to C2E2. It was like the last thing we did before we locked down, and that was February of last year. So.
Yeah. Jeez, no, that's right.
I remember being very worried because you guys were flying, but you guys were like, "Oh, it's fine."
Yeah.
And then by the time you get back, where we were was already starting to get ready to lock down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were very lucky that it wasn't bad when we did that. But
it happened real fast, where it was like beginning of March, everyone's like really antsy about it, and then like middle of March is like, okay, we're closed. Come back later. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that, like, when we went there, I was kind of like, we're probably gonna be fine. But it's a little worrying that I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
And you know, we were lucky. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, we were.
And we learned from that experience.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to
no more OSP appearances in person.
Yeah.
Never.
Canceled. See us on a regularly scheduled Friday upload. And
we're gonna do that VTuber thing now.
Oh yeah.
God no.
Yeah. Anyway, well, this has been a really fun stream, even if it was a kind of like chill vibes, not super like high energy stream. There's merit in that. We're high enough energy in our podcast, and well, that's a lie. We're high enough energy in our regular uploads. We're put together enough in our regular uploads. This podcast is like if we sound a little out of it today, oh my god, tomorrow's podcast we were just destroyed, like,
tune in on your favorite podcast platform.
Yeah.
It's like we were tired enough that it kind of went through into being slightly manic.
Yeah.
And like we were all in that zone, so it's like one of us would go off on a tangent and be like, should we keep that in? It's like, yeah, let's keep it in.
Keep it in.
Why not?
It stays. Yeah.
It stays.
None of us can say words correctly. It'll be funny. It'll be a fun podcast.
Yeah.
Last thing before we head out, speaking of Greek mythology, we got some new pins in the shop. For Valentine's Day. Normally we launch our pins with a video. This time we're doing it a little early in case you want to get them as a gift. We've got Hades and Persephone pins on our Crowdmade shop. They should be showing up on our YouTube shelf in a couple days, so you'll be able to just like find a link to it on all of our YouTube videos. It'll have the little pop-up and shelf, but you can check out our Twitter, check out our community page on YouTube, and we'll have a link to it there. Put it on Instagram.
They're heckin' cool.
Pins. There's some bomb-ass pins. I'm really excited to get them.